A new front has opened in the war. It is an energy war. Last night, the conflict escalated sharply. A wave of Ukrainian drones struck deep inside Russia. They targeted one of the nation's largest oil refineries. Fires erupted, lighting up the pre-dawn sky. The attack was precise and devastating. It represents a bold shift in Ukrainian strategy. The goal is no longer just defending territory. The goal is now to strike at the economic heart of Russia's war machine. This is a direct assault on the revenue that funds the invasion. The financial impact of this single strike is staggering. Initial estimates place the damage at around $2 billion. This figure includes the physical destruction of the facility. It also accounts for the lost production and the fuel that went up in flames. This is a significant blow to the Russian economy. Ukraine's latest strike was a feat of technical and strategic planning. The operation involved multiple long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs. These drones are largely developed and built by Ukraine. They flew hundreds of miles through Russian airspace, evading detection. Their target was a cornerstone of Russia's fuel production. The attack occurred at approximately 3:10 in the morning. The drones precisely hit their designated targets. They struck primary distillation units and vast storage depots. The goal was to cause maximum disruption and inflict lasting damage on Russia's ability to refine its crude oil. The specific refinery attacked is a giant in Russia's energy sector. It has the capacity to process around 21 million tons of crude oil annually. It is a critical source of fuel for the Russian domestic market and for export. More importantly, it supplies the Russian military with diesel jet fuel tanks, ships, aircraft. The cumulative effect of Ukraine's drone campaign has been substantial. According to Western intelligence assessments and Ukrainian intelligence assessments, the strikes have been remarkably effective. The sustained attacks have successfully disabled a significant portion of Russia's oil refining capacity. Some estimates suggest that as much as 40% of the nation's total capacity has been taken offline at various points. This is a massive disruption to one of the world's largest energy producers. The damage is not easily or quickly repaired. It takes months, sometimes years, to fix complex refining units, especially with sanctions limiting access to Western technology. The consequences are now being felt across Russia. The reduction in refining output has led to observable effects within the domestic market. There have been significant spikes in the price of gasoline and diesel. In some regions, fuel shortages are emerging. This directly impacts Russian citizens and businesses. It also creates a major headache for the Kremlin. The government is forced to consider unpopular measures like banning fuel exports to stabilize the domestic supply. The devastating Ukrainian strike did not happen in a vacuum. It was a direct retaliation for one of Russia's most extensive aerial assaults of the entire conflict. Just days earlier, Russian forces launched a massive, multi-wave attack against strategic targets across Ukraine. The operation was meticulously planned and executed. It involved a barrage of over 300 different munitions, slow-moving Shahed 136 loitering munitions, sea-launched Caliber cruise missiles, ground-launched Iskander cruise missiles. The scale and complexity were designed to overwhelm air defenses and inflict maximum damage. The Russian attack began around 2 in the morning. The initial wave consisted primarily of Shahed drones, launched from multiple directions simultaneously. Their goal? Saturate Ukrainian air defense networks, force defenders to expend expensive interceptors on cheap drones. Once defenses were weakened and locations revealed, Russia launched its next wave. More advanced, harder to intercept cruise and ballistic missiles, directed at high-value targets to penetrate remaining shields. Western-supplied air defense systems performed well, but the volume was overwhelming. Patriot batteries intercepted some, but not all. Many missiles and drones broke through and struck objectives. The impact of Russia's assault on Ukraine's infrastructure was immediate and widespread. The strikes plunged millions of Ukrainian civilians into darkness and cold, In the northern Chernihiv region alone, a single overnight attack severed power to at least 50,000 households. The damage to the power grid created cascading failures, leaving entire cities and towns without electricity, water, heat. A Ukrainian energy official described the assault as a deliberate attempt to do more harm to our people. In parallel with the assault on energy facilities, Russian forces also targeted Ukraine's critical railway network. This infrastructure serves as a primary mode of transport for civilians. More critically in wartime, it is the logistical backbone for the movement of military personnel, equipment, supplies. At approximately 4:30 in the morning, a drone strike hit the Shaska railway station in the Sumy region. Amid this escalating campaign of infrastructure strikes, one location remains a point of extreme global concern: the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, the largest of its kind in Europe, is a potential flashpoint for a catastrophic incident. The facility is currently under Russian military control, but it is located in a highly contested area of Ukraine. It has been the subject of repeated accusations and counter-accusations. Both Russia and Ukraine allege that the other is conducting dangerous military activity in the vicinity of the plant's 6 nuclear reactors, risking an unprecedented disaster. The precarious situation has prompted stark and thinly veiled threats from Moscow. A senior Russian official articulated the inherent dangers with chilling clarity. This is a dangerous game. They still have operating nuclear power plants on their side. And what's stopping us from retaliating in kind? This statement is not a simple warning. It is a threat. This raises the stakes of the conflict to an unimaginable level, introducing the logic of deterrence through mutually assured radiological risk. The repercussions of the war are increasingly spilling beyond Ukraine's borders. The conflict is now directly affecting the security of the NATO alliance. Several European nations have reported a series of unsettling incidents. Unidentified drones have been sighted over their territories, raising alarms within the military alliance. Recent incidents in Munich, Germany, and across Denmark have fueled concerns. The suspicion is that Russia is engaging in a form of hybrid warfare. These actions are not a prelude to a conventional invasion. They are designed to test. They are designed to intimidate. They are designed to destabilize. The strategic assessment within NATO is that these drone incursions serve multiple purposes. First, they test the reaction times and capabilities of NATO's air defense networks. Second, they are intended to sow anxiety and fear among civilian populations in NATO countries. Third, they are a tool to gauge the political resolve of the alliance. Moscow is watching to see if these provocations lead to division or to a unified response. As tensions with NATO rise, the war of words has intensified alongside the war on the ground. Russian President Vladimir Putin has vehemently dismissed the European claims of hybrid warfare. He has labeled the concerns as nonsense. He argues that this narrative is a mantra repeated by Western leaders to stoke war hysteria. From his perspective, the idea of a Russian attack on NATO is an invention. He claims it is a tool used by Western political elites to justify massive increases in military spending and to distract their populations from internal domestic problems. In a recent statement, Putin sought to portray the Western position as illogical. "I can honestly tell you that sometimes I look at what they are saying and think they cannot believe in it," he said. He argued that the notion of Russia wanting to attack the heavily armed and nuclear-capable NATO alliance is absurd. He contends that this rhetoric is part of a broader information war. The goal, in his view, is to demonize Russia and create a pretext for perpetuating the conflict in Ukraine. He presents Russia as the victim of a hostile Western information campaign, not as the aggressor. This escalating war of attrition against critical infrastructure marks the most dangerous chapter of the conflict yet. The strategic calculus on both sides is brutal and clear. Russia believes that by systematically dismantling Ukraine's energy infrastructure, transport infrastructure, it can break the will of the Ukrainian people. It hopes to cripple their ability to fight, forcing a surrender before another harsh winter. Ukraine, in turn, believes that by striking at the heart of Russia's war economy, oil refineries, it can impose a cost so high that the conflict becomes unsustainable for Moscow. Neither side is showing any sign of backing down. This brutal war of attrition has moved far beyond the front lines. With each retaliatory strike on a refinery power station, the stakes are raised in this dangerous geopolitical chess match. Russia is attempting to freeze Ukraine into submission,